Howdy folks and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to a new episode, hopefully the most awaited episode of the whole campaign, as always happens when I have to play as Germany in 1941. So, let's say the unexpected and fast capitulation of the UK kind of relieved me from having to fight a future war on two fronts. And despite, let's say, the loss of the North African theater, I felt quite safe. In prevision for the next campaign, I decided that maybe having only tank divisions and foot, let's say, borne infantry was not enough for me. So, in the very beginning, in the early days of 1941, I took 10 infantry divisions. Historically, the very first 10 infantry divisions, which were then converted into motorized divisions. And since I had, let's say, in my equipment depots, I don't know, if I something like 12,000 lorries, I was like, okay, maybe I think it's time to finally build some proper motorized infantry units. And this, coupled with the massive expansion of the panzer divisions, this was done just to provide some support for my panzer divisions, for the spearhead of my Wehrmacht, and as well as to have enough troops to field at least two panzer groups in preparation for the, let's say, liberation of the Soviet Union. Yeah, and as this campaign, as let's say, as one of the goals of this campaign is to make Germany a strong nation with a superb power, I decided also to employ the paratroopers. Small spoiler, in 1941 my paratroopers will not see any kind of action, because at the beginning I was like, okay, maybe I want to employ them somewhere, but then let's say the violence of the Eastern Front just overwhelmed me, and I simply forgot about my paratroopers. Yeah, they've been standing there, those poor guys, doing nothing and nothing at all. Yeah, and in preparation for the, let's say, the campaign in the East, I also I was wondering whether it may have been good to add some heavy anti-aircraft battalions in my divisions, either in my motorized or panzer, or even worse, my infantry divisions. And I thought, let's not do it, because I was afraid this would have really negatively affected the organization and morale of my units. Let's say this maybe was the first mistake of this campaign, because having this let's say, extra anti-aircraft units may have helped me in repelling the Soviet armored attacks that occurred in late 1941. And let's say the other big mistake that I did even before starting Operation Barbarossa was starting Operation Barbarossa much later than what happened in real history. Because I really, it's my fault. I messed up with the length of the focus trees, and at the end of the story, as you can see now, I declared war only after mid-July. I mean, I basically burned 6 weeks of good weather, 6 weeks of time that I could have just used to, I don't know, do many more things that in the end I just could not do, because, well, I've been stupid. And the plan of Operation Barbarossa was to launch these two armored spearhead von Kleist in the north and Guderian in the center, to basically, first of all, trap the Soviet troops in Estonia and in the Baltic states, while at the same time Guderian, coming from the south, should have encircled many more divisions in the area of Minsk, Molodechno and Daugavpils. And I must say, the opening phases were really nice. Everything worked like a charm, at least in the north. In the center, Guderian was stuck in the Pripyat marshes. I really, again, third mistake, I let my panzer troops fight in the marshes. This is something that you guys must never never ever ever do when you play the Total War mod. And let's say, after a bit of cursing and praying, Guderian's troops managed to link up with von Kleist from the north, and the huge pocket of Vitebsk, Minsk, Molodechno, Daugavpils, or whatever it's called, was finally sealed. And here began, let's say, the fourth or fifth mistake, and now I already lost the count of the campaign. Having assigned the whole front line to a field marshal, the AI, let's say, calculated how many divisions were needed on the actual front line in order to prevent a supply collapse. As such, I did not have enough troops with which to attack the big salient around Minsk. So I was manually ordering my troops to go there and fight. But this meant that more troops meant less supplies, and less supplies meant more attrition for everyone. And in the end, I just could not break through the enemy defenses because my troops were no longer supplied. Oh my god, it was really a vicious circle. I really hated myself. And it was only after that I decided to invest in upgrading the local infrastructures. Let's say, as in the very north, I was afraid that the Soviets may have broke through the thin crust, defensive crust held by my Panzer division. So I was like, okay, then I think it's time for another small pocket, and the pocket succeeded. I would say the pocket was sealed on the Baltics, on the Baltic Sea west of Leningrad. Leningrad, which by the way fell to the Finns. I have no idea of what happened to the AI, but yeah, I never seen the Finnish capturing Leningrad. And let's say, having launched Operation Barbarossa 6 weeks later than what really happened in real life, meant that disaster unfolded in autumn. I was very optimistic when I launched, let's say, the last offensive of the year with Guderian's troops going southward. I was like, okay, maybe I can do it. The problem is that I underestimated the AI, and especially I underestimated the ability of the AI to react to this moment of crisis. And I was really praying to open a safety corridor for Guderian's troops, that they were really being isolated and cut off from the rest of the army. Von Kleist again struck from the north. I think von Kleist just had too many medals, as he was the one who fought in the Spanish Civil War. And yeah, von Kleist again generated two small pockets that were eventually wiped out by my infantry. And with Guderian, I was like, okay, I really reached the northern part of Kiev when the pressure of the Soviets just was too much for me. And I must say, honestly, I really enjoyed it, because I was like, holy shit, for the first time I have to stop an armored offensive just because I didn't have enough supplies. I think that there was just one tile through which the supplies were flowing, and of course, if you have to fuel 14 Panzer divisions, just forget about it. It's just too much. And at some point, I even had to retreat 4 Panzer divisions from the front line because they were just eating too much supplies, and I couldn't do it anymore. And wow, that was really tense, guys. You cannot imagine. I'm really excited even now when I'm telling you this episode. And so at the end, okay, I was like, maybe we can still do it. Maybe I can still close the Kiev pocket in November 1941. And I was like, holy shit, I cannot do it. I mean, really, the Soviets were launching endless counterattacks. They had shit ton of units. That was really intense. I really don't know how I managed to survive the Red Army onslaught. I did launch Operation Typhoon, which instead of going to Moscow was going to Kiev South. And yeah, there the epic battles unfolded in December, because on one hand I was trying to encircle the Soviets, on the other hand the Soviets were trying to encircle my armored spearhead. And again, they succeeded at some point in cutting off the bulk of Guderian's forces. I don't know what happened. I think I've been just lucky. I did encircle like a bunch of Soviet divisions, and finally I managed to reopen again the the land connections with Guderian troops. I was too late because, as you may have seen a couple of seconds ago, the Red Army, the Soviet AI, efficiently and effectively pulled out from the Kiev salient, I think, at least 20 divisions. I was really pissed at myself when I saw this, because I was like, no, they can't flee, but they were just going away. And it was after an endless and tough battle that I managed to seal the Kiev pocket into two. And well, at the end of the story, the great air support and the superior tank forces and mobile elements of the Wehrmacht managed to overcome the Soviet defenses. Many things happened, and yeah, I hope to carry on in the next episode. Stay tuned, guys.